How y'all doing, everybody? Welcome to the Blue Chip Podcast by fans for fans. This is your host Cody Potter. How y'all doing? We're gonna go over the Commanders Falcons game. What can I say, man? It was a pretty ugly game for Washington. I mean, it was they hung around, but slow start. Going to get into quite a few things about this game. I'm gonna play some clips from the game in the background, and we'll kind of go about it like that. So anyway, the Commanders Falcons, man, just to start the game, man, they started hot. They came in after getting blown out by the Carolina Panthers, didn't even score a point, no field goals, no nothing, missed field goals, everything that could have gone wrong against the Panthers the week before. The Falcons had go bad. Kirk Cousins finished the game. Everybody was talking about Michael Penix, man. Well, Michael Penix is a quarterback that I really like, man. And honestly, this is actually what I expected to see from the Falcons almost all year. I expected them to be a much better team. They're well coached. Michael Penix is a really good quarterback, man. Same draft class as Jaden Daniels. They have a really, really good pass defense, and their best cornerback wasn't even on the field, but you got to see it, man. Xavier Watts is a player that I really liked coming out of Notre Dame. They're getting really, really good impact from this draft class, man. A lot of people talk about them, possibly trading future picks for James Pierce Jr., making another pick in the first round. They picked two edges in the first round, both one from Georgia, one from Tennessee, both in the SEC, and both are having a really good impact, man. Both these players are going to be really good players for this team going forward. So I kind of like what the Falcons did in the draft, man. They've needed pressure off the edges for a long time. They've put assets into it now, and they're starting to get it back, man. Xavier Watts, like I said, had an interception in this game, had an impact in this game. This is where drafting and developing is critical. This is something I'm going to get into a lot about Washington going forward this season. Because you're seeing it. Drake London had a really good game. Michael Penix had a really good game. We had no real answer for Bijan Robinson on either facet. I mean, this is where you see the dynamic ability of a true running back that deserves to go in the top 10. We devalue the position as a whole, but when you have the quarterback, I believe that it is actually okay to make a pick like Bijan Robinson. They did not have the quarterback when they made the pick, but at the time, they made the pick. And they're starting to see it because they've addressed the quarterback position. They invested in Kirk Cousins. They made the Michael Penix Jr. pick because Michael Penix Jr. was the best player on their board. They're sticking true to developing that player, and I think you saw the fruits of that yesterday, man. This is a team that's convicted in their pick, and they're believing in their pick, and they're giving their pick every opportunity to succeed. They have Drake London. They have their number one. They have Kyle Pitts, who is a difference maker talent at tight end. Whether he impacts every game or not, it doesn't really matter. When he's called to impact the game and he steps up to make the plays, he did it yesterday. So that's when this offense is humming. That's when all the things come together. They blocked really well. They did not allow us to get a ton of sacks. They were just the better team yesterday. Honestly, man, I'm gonna say this again and again and again until it really goes in. And I understand that he's a rookie, but this is a development season for this team. You're seeing, yes, can Jaden Daniels play Superman every week and win us games? Yes, of course he can. We saw it last year. Are you going to win the Super Bowl, get through a season healthy with Jaden Daniels playing superhero ball every week? No, you're not. So at some point you have to develop this roster. Terry McLaurin not being in there. Could Terry McLaurin take over this game? Could it be different? Yes, of course it could. But we need somebody besides Terry McLaurin. We need other players to step up. Deebo Samuel's having a good season. Luke McCaffrey just scored his second touchdown of the season. Stepping up, having an impact. This is a developmental season for this team. No matter how far we go at the end of the year, when things start to click and when the team comes together, you're going to need Luke McCaffrey. You're going to need Jalen Lane. It's the things that I was talking about in preseason. It's the things I'm going to talk about all season, no matter what we are, no matter what our record is. Whether we're, a 3 and whatever at the end of the year, whether we're 13 and whatever at the end of the year, whatever the situation is going to be, man, every year is a developmental season. You are constantly developing the young players on your roster. That is what needs to be a priority going forward. Injuries are making that really a priority. I mean, they're really, really stepping things up into this team. I mean, at the end of the day, we've been hit by injuries. Another injury for another player that I really, really like on this team, Javonte Jean-Baptiste, showed up again yesterday, got hurt. It's been repetitive, but this is the NFL, man. This is the NFL. If you're gonna stack seasons on top of each other, you're gonna have seasons where players get hurt. You're gonna have to have the next man up. This is where developing this roster is going to come into play. The biggest thing that I'm looking at when I see this defense is speed. We look slow. The Green Bay game, we look slow. This game, we look slow. There's moments in every game that I just see our defense looking slow. Love Bobby Wagner, but, McGee is going to have to play. McGee is going to have to be in packages. This is just something that's going to have to be started to work in. They put him on the field late in the Raiders game when the game was out of line. But, dude, it's not a disrespect thing to Bobby Wagner to develop your players. At a certain point, you're going to need McGee on the field because him and Frankie Louvu can go sideline to sideline. And that is where teams are gashing us right now in the run game. They're getting to the edge and they're getting yards after, many yards after, because there's no linebacker where they're supposed to be. Bobby Wagner is slow. Tight ends are beating us in the same manner. At a certain point, you can have Bobby Wagner be the coach on the team, but certain packages, certain plays, like McGee's speed is going to have to be on that field, whether it's Kane Madrano or, you drafted him, you drafted McGee last year. You're going to need that speed at the linebacker position, which is going to lead me into my next segment anyway. I'm always looking forward. I'm always scouting college football. This is why I'm always big on looking forward. So the draft is always key for me. The draft is where you get better as a team. Everybody right now, of course, is going to look at this team and they're going to be like, oh, well, Tyreek Hill, or oh, if we have Jalen Waddle, or oh, whatever. And this is where I'm going to get into you. As much as I love Marshawn Lattimore, much as I love other players from other teams, the other team is only getting rid of that player because there is some kind of baggage. If a team is getting rid of a player with speed, then trust me, he's got injury issues. There's something going on with that player. The teams do not give up on fast players. Any player in this league that has dynamic speed and game-changing ability, if that team is willing to walk away from them, they are either picking very, very high in a total rebuild, or that player has injury issues or off-the-field issues. That's the only reason you're going to be able to trade for that player. It's the only reason we got Marshawn Lattimore. If Marshawn Lattimore was the all-pro player that he was early in his career, we aren't getting him at the trade deadline to whatever. So people want to talk about all these trades and you want to fix everything now. At the end of the day, the lifeblood of this organization going forward is to retain draft capital or get more draft capital. Howie Roseman for the Eagles is constantly accruing draft capital. The thing this team needs to do is accrue more draft capital, not continue to trade it for 28, 29-year-old players. Those 28 and 29-year-old players are only available for a reason. If we were hunkering down for a Super Bowl for this season, yes, you could add a 28, 29-year-old player, but this is just not the way to build this team. This team needs to be built through the draft. The best players on this team and the players that have the best future for this team are the players that we are drafting. Mikey Sammerstill, Trey Amos, Quan Martin, Sam Cosmi, Jaden Daniels, Bill, our 7th-round running back, Josh Connolly Jr. These are the guys that are going to be on this team, being the staples of this organization if this team is to ever get a Super Bowl. So it's not I love Deebo Samuel. This year, next year maybe, the year after that, who knows? Terry McLaurin, he's getting to an age where it's how many years is it? How many years is it? I think he's going to be here a while, but at the end of the day, he's not going to be the same player as he is right now. You have to be able to look ahead. That is where drafting is so critical. That is why I was very high on Xavier Watts. I thought Xavier Watts in the back end. We preach turnovers on this team. Xavier Watts, turnover in this game, that's where you see the impact. This team needs speed on the defense, whether we need a safety to go with Quan Martin that has truly game-changing, hands, and there are safeties in this draft. So this draft that's coming up is very, very critical for this team moving forward. And yes, of course, everybody's going to be like, well, we need a receiver. Well, I'm just telling you right now, when you're looking at the strength of this draft, it's not wide receiver. You're not going to get a better wide receiver than you're going to get a better edge player. The edge player in this class that you're going to be staring at in the 20s and the teens or whatever is going to be a lot better than the best wide receiver that's in this class, in my opinion, more than likely. The best linebacker prospect, the talent that's going to be available at linebacker in round 2 or round 3 is going to be better than the wide receiver talent that's available in round 2 or round 3 because they're grading out better. Whether it's the linebacker from Penn State, whether it's the linebacker from Oregon, whether it's any of the linebackers from LSU, whether it's any of the, dude, there's so many really good linebackers in college football right now, whether it's the Pitt linebackers, the K-State linebackers, this team has a real chance to get younger and better and faster on defense, and that is what the weakness of this team is because we have not addressed defense. We have not sunk the assets into this team on defense that we have in the offense because it's year 2 of this rebuild. Yes, we're looking ahead because Jaden Daniels got us to an NFC title game, and that's not to say that we can't get back there or get further this year. Is it looking like it right now? No, not with all the injuries, but that's where you have to draft, develop, and get these young players on the field and up to speed as fast as you can. Jerzon Newton, need more impact. Mikey Samerstill showed up yesterday. Big interception, gave us a chance to get back into this game, and we kind of blew it because we're not getting impact from the passing game against the number 1 pass defense with our backup quarterback. And that's okay, dude. People talk about Marcus Mariota. He is going to fill in and be great as a backup, but we still are playing with our backup. So everybody wants to knock this game. Well, when you keep up with a team that puts up 30-some points with your backup quarterback and you had a chance to win late, that's pretty damn good. Yes, you want more from your defense. Yes, you want more from Marshawn Lattimore. Does Marshawn Lattimore look any better than, honestly, your typical number 2 in a Dan Quinn defense? Going back to Seattle when it was Byron Maxwell or, the penalty machine that they used to have across from Richard Sherman? No, dude. But at the end of the day, he is in coverage. He's doing his job. The defense is just missing pieces right now. And again, they're missing speed. Giving up yards on the edge right there. You're just not fast enough. You need improved linebacker play. You need improved edge play. The interior of this defense, you can tell that the additions are starting to pay off. But Joe Witt needs more to work with. People are going to knock Joe Witt. They're going to knock his scheme. Oh, we're not blitzing. Oh, we're not this. Oh, we're not that. And then the next week they do the same thing and they look very, very good doing it. We just don't have it enough to be consistent when you're going up against a team with dynamic weapons. It showed against Green Bay. It showed against the Atlanta Falcons. When teams have multiple weapons and multiple ways that they can attack you on offense, we're not deep enough to keep up with them. Anybody that thought that we were going to get the same impact from Zach Ertz this year, this is why Ben Sinnott really needs to be introduced into the passing game. Of course, they're letting him run block and he's stepping up in the run game, but you got to start giving him the ball and featuring him. You have to do that to develop him because he is good after the catch. Give him an easy catch and let him try to create. Don't just give it to him one time and we tried. No, you got to give him multiple looks and multiple opportunities schematically to try to give him an impact. The run game, we continue to get away from, but the run game, and dude, you can say we were down, and yes, but honestly, really realistically, yesterday we did what we wanted on offense, but I just think we continue to get away from the run game a little bit too early. We don't continue to accentuate it like we were playing from behind, and at a certain point, you gotta throw the ball. But at the end of the day, the run game and controlling the clock, coming out and just being more consistent, and honestly, this is where I get back to Bill. Having Bill be more consistent, starting off the game, being more, involved early, I think would really go a long way to improving this offense. But again, you want him to develop. You want to make him earn each step of the way. You don't just give players anything in this league. And I do agree with that when it comes to the way that Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury and this staff does coach their players. Amos is a good player, man. This dude is. This is why I continue to preach the draft. The draft. The draft. The draft. The draft. The draft is critical. You want to be able to get first round impact from your first and second picks in the draft. We don't have a second round pick. We're going to have to do some things and get creative in this next year's class to get a second round pick. I think Adam Peters is going to make things happen. He will make moves and things like that. But everybody wants to trade for a player this year. You know, everybody's talking about Tyreek Hill and things like that. And honestly, dude, like, I don't think that's the way to go, man. Like, no matter where this team settles this year, you're not giving up on this year. But I run this roster to where it is because we cannot continue to throw draft capital towards the right now. It has to be looking forward because we're showing that Mikey Samerstill, Trey Amos, Josh Connolly Jr., like Jaden Daniels, like having these high round draft picks and they're giving us immediate impact. Like, you have to continue to throw them darts at the board and we're hitting them darts. So like, you continue to throw them darts in the draft. You continue to put the assets into the draft. You will start to develop this roster into the roster that you're looking to be long term. But you continue to bring in the Laramie Tunsels. You continue to bring in the Marshawn Latimers. You're taking chances, man. And eventually, like, those guys are going to slow down at some point, like, and they have no long-term future for this team to where you're trying to head. So at some point, you got to stop doing rentals. So like I said, I watch this team. I watch a slow team. It's an older team. You got to develop. The only way to develop talent is to continue to throw assets into this roster from the draft. This is why I do not believe that making a trade of any kind this offseason, unless you're stealing a player for a 7th round pick or something like that, like, okay, well, that's different. But like, as far as I'm looking at this team really, really does need to find a way to like add assets, not get rid of assets as far as like your future and the development of this roster. Give hats off to Atlanta. They played a really, really good game. That was the team that I've expected to see all year from this team. Feature Bijan Robinson, have Michael Penix working off the play action. He was hitting Drake London, which is something I've been waiting for all season. I've been just watching him, and I'm like, dude, like, Drake London's your number one. Like, why are you not hitting him? Like, it just everything that they did yesterday was what I expect. When I look at the talent on Atlanta's offense, that's the way that I expect this offense to play. Our defense wasn't fast enough to be able to like hinder anything like that, but we did keep up with the team with our backup quarterback. Again, there were signs. There was a lot of improvement in this week. I saw Jalen Lane look good, in certain things. I saw him look like a rookie in others. Josh Connerly, the first matchup that he finally goes against that is not a, pretty much, perennial all-pro. He looked like a first-round pick. He looked very good. He wasn't giving up the pressures. Like, honestly, I thought Josh Connerly had a hell of a game. Laramie Tunsil looked good. The offensive line is looking good. Can they improve? Will they improve? I think they will. I think when you get Sam Cosmi back, who I believe is still your best football player on the offensive line, I think we see a lot of improvement there. I think that only, helps Josh Connerly even more. I think that makes this right side pretty dominant. Once Josh Connerly settles into the NFL and he's not going up against Max Crosby every week. There's a lot of things to be excited about for this team moving forward. I'm sure you get Jaden Daniels back next week, to play against the Chargers. We got to fly all the way across the country to play the Chargers, but they're flying back from New York too. They just gave up they just took their first loss of the season to the Giants too. So, it's not anything easier for them. They're flying from New York to go back home. So, we're flying across the country. It's going to be a big, 4:00 game. Chargers are a well-balanced team. They're going to run that football. So if you think anything's getting any easier, man, Amari Hampton showed that in this Giants game that he's pretty dynamic in his own right in the multifaceted part of the offensive football. So, like, if you can, this is what I'm saying when it comes to first-round running backs, man. Like, Jeremiah Love for this team paired with Bill and, like a Chris Rodriguez or something like that, man, like Jeremiah Love is like, dude, he is like that Reggie Bush type weapon, like that, that he doesn't have the elite top end speed like the Jamari Gibbs, but he gives you everything in the run and the pass game that, like the Bijan, the Amari Hamptons, the Jamari Gibbs, like that multifaceted, like Christian McCaffrey, like Those are the type of running backs that go round one. Like, nothing against Ashton Jenney, and Ashton Jenney had a good game this week. But I'm sorry, if I'm picking a running back in the first round, like, he's got to give me the wide receiver production too. I got to be able to line him up in the slot. You got to use him like the Saquon Barkleys and the things like that. So, again, man, like, this team, the things that they need, the things that would really improve this roster overall, those things are going to be available to this team in the draft. As long as they are not reaching for position, which I don't expect them to do, I expect Adam Peters to kind of prioritize getting this team even tougher. So linebacker, edge, running game, like, these are the things that would improve this team. Like, of course, everybody wants the Jamar Chase or the Justin Jefferson, and, we would like Terry's, counterpart moving forward long term that takes over the number one position, and lets Terry be the number two dog, kind of like moving forward. That player is going to be in the draft in 2027. So that's 2 years away. If I'm looking at what I'm scouting this year, man, get tougher, get better on that defense, man. Like, give Jaden Daniels more opportunities, man. Like, we are not getting a ton of turnovers right now. Get younger on that defense, get faster, and that will help Jaden Daniels overall as a team. It will make him not have to play Superman ball quite as often as we have, because we have been completely reliant on Superman ball. And so that's pretty much my assessment from the Atlanta game. There's a lot of like foreshadowing and stuff like that, because that's what I do here. That's what I do. I scout football, man. Oregon, Penn State was an amazing game. The Alabama, Georgia game was an amazing game. UW, they're pretty much, dude, they are right there. They are right there to competing in, the Big Ten. Their quarterback, I really, really do like. Everything that UW has coming in the future is going to be pretty exciting. They're going to be competing in the Big Ten. They were just a couple things here and there in the red zone from actually beating Ohio State, but that's where Ohio State and that, the pedigree and everything like that, you got to step up in the big time. This was Washington's first big matchup, and you could just tell they were a little bit off. But I'll get into my college breakdowns and things like that for this past week, probably tomorrow on the pod. This was my Commanders Falcons takeaways. I appreciate you guys sticking around for the pod. So this is Cody from the Blue Chip Podcast. Have a blessed week, everybody. Peace.